Good day, everyone. For today, we're going to discuss the Lesson 24 Critique on the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012, Republic Act Number 10354, also known as RH Law. This lesson discusses background, rationale, salient provisions, and potential impacts of the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012. This module also discusses the pros and cons of the said law. The learning objectives of the lesson are you should be able to, or the student should be able to, understand fully the background, rationale, salient provisions, and potential impact of the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012, or RA 10354, and have a stand position on whether he or she agrees or disagree on the existence and legality of the said law. Now, for better understanding what this lesson is all about, let's define first what is RH law. RH law, or the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012, or RA 10354, was primarily enacted on a vision that the poor will have access to reproductive health goods and services, which they cannot afford. With this law, the poor will likely to have sufficient access to information about the proper use and effectiveness of these RH products. Apparently, the failure of the market of RH goods and services to reach marginalized women compelled the Philippine government to step in and initiate measures to address the occurrence. So with those definitions, we can conclude that RH law is for family planning because they provide information, goods, and services that promotes family planning. That is why kung ikukumpara natin ang number of siblings or number of children ng mga Filipino dati sa ngayon ay may kaibahan talaga. Before 2012, kung saan wala pang RH law, makikita natin na sa mga lolo't lola natin ay madami talaga silang anak. For example, in my case, yung lola ko ay may 10 anak. After 2012, meron ng RH law saan yung mga anak ng lola ko ay nagkaasawa na din, meron lang silang tagdadalawang anak. So, we can see a big difference nung nainak na ang RH law at sa nung di pa nainak ang RH law kasi nga wala pang masyadong information about family planning sa panahon ng mga lolo't lola natin at saka hindi pa affordable yung mga goods and services that promotes family planning because hindi pa nga nainak yung RH law sa panahon nila. Kaya malaki talaga ang naging impact ng RH law sa pamilyang Pilipino. Nakatulong din ito para hindi masyadong maghirap ang pamilyang Pilipino kasi nga naniniwala tayo na isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit mas naghihirap ang isang pamilya dahil sa dami ng kanilang anak na hindi naman nila kayang suportahan. Kung saan nagiging resulta ito na yung ibang anak nila ay hindi na nakakapag-aral dahil nga hindi kayang pag-aralin ng kanilang mga magulang dahil sa dami nila. But even though positive ang aim ng RH law which is to promote family planning, may nakita ang mga Catholic Church na dahilan kung bakit hindi dapat ito ipinapatupad dahil according to them, RH law promotes abortion and abortifacient products, thus sinful and frowned upon by the Catholic Church. So to further explain the elements of RH law, my co-reporter Mr. Amandam will discuss about those.
Elements of RH law. First, family planning, information, and service. Ito ay maaaring magtuon sa pagbibigay ng komprehensitibong mga serbisyo sa family planning kabilang ang counseling, education, at access sa mga fertility treatment. Second, maaari maglatag ng batas o pangtiyakin ang mayroong access ng ang mga individual sa iba't ibang paraan ng contraception kabilang ang condom, birth control pills, intrauterine IUD, at implants. Pangatlo, kalusugan ng mga ina. Ang pagsasabatas na maaari tumuon at pababuti ng kalusugan pang-ina sa pamamagitan ng pagtiyak na access sa prenatal care, skilled birth attendant, emergency obstetric services, at natal care, prevention and management, production track, infection, RTIS, HIV/AIDS, and STIs. 6. Elimination of vows and other form of sexual and GBV. 7. Next, education, counseling, and sexuality and reproductive health. Treatment of breast and reproductive tract cancer and other gynecologic condition and disorder. Male responsibility and development of men's RH. Prevention, treatment, and management of infertility and sexual dysfunction. RH education for the adolescents and mental health aspect of reproductive health care.
Salient provisions of RH law. Midwives for skilled birth attendants. The law mandates every city and municipality to employ an adequate number of midwives and other skilled attendants. So this law also makes sure na may sapat na bilang ng midwives for every city and municipality para mapapangalagaan ang pagpupuntis and as well as hanggang sa manganak ang isang ina. Emergency obstetric care. Each province and city shall ensure the establishments and operation of hospitals with adequate facilities and qualified personnel that provide emergency obstetric cares. Ibig sabihin nito, dapat every province and city ay mayroong sapat na hospitals and paanakan with qualified obstetric or qualified na doktor na nagpapaanak to make sure na safety si mommy as well as si baby. Hospital-based family planning. The law requires family planning services like ligation, vasectomy, and intrauterine device or IUD placements to be available in all government hospitals. So it means na lahat ng government hospitals dapat available ang mga family planning sa kanila like ligation, vasectomy, and intrauterine or IUD placement. So kung si mother, if after niyang manganak at naisipan niyang magpaligate dahil ayaw niya na magkaanak, dapat itong i-perform ni doctor and it should be free for all government hospitals, according to the salient provisions of RH law. Contraceptives as essential medicines. So what does it mean? Reproductive health products shall be considered essential medicines and supplies and shall form part of national drug formulatories. So since contraceptives ay naging part na siya as essential medicines, it should be available sa mga pharmacy and should be affordable. But regarding sa brand, it depends din naman sa brand kasi may mga contraceptives na mahal, but make sure naman ng RH law na may mga contraceptives naman na affordable. Reproductive health education. RH education shall be taught by adequately trained teachers in an age-appropriate manner. One of the salient provisions of RH is to have reproductive health education. That is why if you can still remember, isa sa mga na-discuss sa atin noong tayo ay nasa junior high, senior high, and as well up until now in college is about reproductive health education. But this type of education should be age appropriate. So that is why hindi naman natin ito na-encounter noong tayo ay nasa kinder pa kasi hindi pa ito masyadong maiintindihan ng mga age na nasa kinder pa at elementary. That is why na-encounter natin ito sa junior high dahil dito naman natin na-experience ang pagbibinata at pagtatalaga. Kaya meron na tayong masyadong understanding about reproductive health. Employers' responsibilities. So it is the responsibility of the employers to respect the reproductive health rights of all their workers and should not discriminate the women against in the matter of hiring, regulation of employment status, or selection of retrenchment. Employers also shall provide free reproductive health services and education to workers. It was also included in these provisions ang pagbibigay ng maternity leave sa mga babaeng employers na nagbubuntis, and as well as cash assistance. Capability building of community-based volunteer workers. So, in every community, di ba, may mga volunteer workers tayo. They should be enrolled an additional and updated training on delivery of reproductive health care services, and after the completion of the training, they shall receive not less than 10% increase in honoraria. It is to make sure na updated and right ang kanilang pagdi-deliver ng reproductive health care services.
Prohibited Act. ay based on understanding, pwede siya ma-penalty ang isa ka tao if maglabag siya na ana na act like ma-disseminate siya wrong na information which is intention niya na daotan ka and basig mali iyang ginaingon na information sa lain tao, pwede siya maka-act na mali siya.
Refusing to perform voluntary ligation and vasectomy and other legal and medically safe reproductive healthcare services on any person of legal age on the ground of lack of spousal consent or authorization. So as a doctor, we should not refuse any patient na nasa legal age na magpa-ligate or any type of reproductive healthcare services nang dahil lang wala siyang consent ng kanyang asawa. Dahil kung magre-refuse ang doctor, they will receive penalties according to RH law. Refusing to provide reproductive healthcare services to an abused minor or an abused pregnant woman whose condition is certified to by an authorized DSWD official or personnel even without parental consent, particularly when the parent concerned is the perpetrator. Di din natin pwedeng tanggihan ang isang pasyente na minor kung ito ay inauthorize naman ng DSWD na ma-performan ng reproductive healthcare services, especially kung yung perpetrator ng pasyente ay kanyang parents. Syempre, hindi yan magbibigay ng consent. But if the DSWD give authorized for that child to perform reproductive healthcare services, then the doctor shall not refuse that patient. The next prohibited act is the refusing to extend reproductive healthcare services and information on account of patient civil status, gender, or sexual orientation. Hindi ko na siya babasahin lahat dahil sobrang taas. So, in summary, this type of prohibited act, it should be avoided na magre-refuse ka sa isang pasyente dahil lang sa tinitignan mo ang kanyang civil status, gender, or sexual orientation, age or religion, personal circumstances. It should not be an issue. And especially if the patient is in emergency or serious case tapos tinanggihan mo, magkakaroon ka ng penalty sa RA 8344 which penalizing the refusal of hospitals and medical clinics to administer appropriate initial medical treatment and support in emergency and serious cases. So the last type of prohibited act that we are going to discuss in this lesson is requiring a female applicant or employee to undergo sterilization, tubal ligation, or any other form of contraceptive methods as a condition for employment or continued employment. So as an employer, you should not require your employees to undergo sterilization and tubal ligation or any other type or other form of contraceptive methods if you don't want to receive penalties in RH law. Legislating RH. The journey towards the enactment of the reproductive health law in the Philippines was marked by significant challenges and debates during constitutional provisions and differing perspectives on family planning methods. The main obstacle faced during this process was the constitutional mandate outlined in Article 2, Section 12 of the 1987 Constitution, which mandates that the state recognizes the sanctity of life. It shall equally protect the life of the mother and the life of the unborn from conception. The constitutional provision underscores the importance of recognizing and safeguarding life, including that of the mother and the unborn. This was led to debates and disagreements regarding the classification of artificial family planning methods such as intrauterine devices and condoms as anti-life and contrary to the sanctity of life. Advocates of natural methods such as abstinence and calendar methods have argued in favor of these approaches as being more aligned with the protection of life. Conversely, supporters of the RH law have encountered these arguments by presenting scientific evidence that challenges the notion of artificial family planning methods being inherently against life or conception. They advocate for a further understanding of reproductive health that includes access to a range of family planning options to meet the diverse needs and preferences of individuals. One key aspect that has been highlighted in these debates is the fundamental principle of allowing women the freedom to choose the family planning method that best suits their needs and circumstances. The essence of the RH law is to empower women to make informed decisions about their reproductive health and to have access to a variety of options without judgment or limitation. By promoting a woman's right to choose freely, the law aims to uphold individual autonomy and ensure that women have the agency to make decisions that are in line with their own values and beliefs. Ultimately, the spirit of the RH law is rooted in the principle of respecting women's autonomy and promoting their well-being by providing comprehensive reproductive health services and information. It emphasizes the importance of offering a range of family planning methods and options to enable women to make choices that are best suited to their individual circumstances, preferences, and health needs.
The long political battle. It talks about a unified reproductive health policy that had been roaming the spheres of the Philippine government way back in the 1960s, with the creation of a population course of the measure of population control to manage high fertility rates and alleviate poverty. Henceforth, the backlash of the CBCP was unrelenting, because the CBCP pastoral statement states that choose life reject the RH bill. The conference argued that the very name contraceptive already reveals the anti-life nature of the means that the RH bill promotes. These artificial means are fatal to human life, either preventing it from fruition or actually destroying it. The RH law, which finally enacted in 2012, was a product of a 14-year struggle. After its enactment, this law thought that the victory was already achieved. However, in March 2013, the law was challenged before the SC or Supreme Court of the Philippines, delaying its full implementation. A year after, the law was held to be valid, except for clauses therein that allowed minors to access reproductive health services without the written consent of a guardian, and penal measures for government officials who did not implement the law. In 2015, a further temporary restraining orders or TRO issued again by the nation's Supreme Court prevented the Food and Drug Administration of the Philippines from procuring, disturbing, or issuing new certificates of product registration on more than 50 different contraceptives, allowing many licenses to eventually expire. When we say temporary restraining order or TRO, this is a type of short-term injunction issued to prevent a party from taking a certain action until the court is able to issue a more enduring order, such as preliminary injunction. And when we say FDA or Food and Drug Administration, it is responsible for protecting the public health by ensuring the safety, efficacy, and security of human and veterinary drugs, biological products, and medical devices, and by ensuring the safety of our nation's food supply, cosmetics, and products that emit radiation. The Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012, or RA 10354, was really a landmark legislation which has the noblest intention of allowing women, especially those who are poor, to have a choice on their family planning methods. It is a given that the Catholic Church will vehemently oppose this move and will keep doing so because of what they believe in and what they fight for. This exercise of arguments only strengthens our democratic institutions and citizenry as more people became aware of what the law is all about and what it's provide. No matter the debates and the long winding journey, the RH law is now implemented and it is expected that all actors must comply to the same. As can be seen, the RH law is replete with substantial provisions envisioning an empowered Filipino woman with choices in her life.